Also breaking today, prosecutors are now charging the parents of 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter in connection to the deadly school shooting. This comes after prosecutors say James and Jennifer Crumbley purchased the gun and made it available to Ethan. They claim the parents also failed to intervene when school officials contacted them regarding their son's violent drawings and internet searches for ammunition. According to prosecutors, just minutes after the shooting began, Jennifer Crumbley allegedly texted her son saying, "Don't do it."
The notion that a parent could read those words and also know that their son had access to a deadly weapon that they gave him is unconscionable.
The pair were supposed to be arraigned this afternoon, but police now cannot find them. A manhunt is now underway. This despite the parents' lawyers saying they had left town for their own safety, but are returning to face the charges. Now, with so many legal questions to unpack, we want to bring in Fox 5's Katie Barlow. Katie, we all know you are a lawyer, so you can help us understand how significant it is that parents are being charged in this case. How often do we see things like this?
Well, Rob, we really don't see this happen. In fact, I can't think of a time off the top of my head where we've seen a school shooting like the one that happened in Michigan, where the parents are charged related to that school shooting. And I think here is different. And you heard from the prosecutor, McDonald, just a moment ago, why it is different. The parents in this case not only purchased the gun, I understand, for their 15-year-old child, but they also, provided additional access to that weapon. And they didn't, despite showing up to the school that morning, I understand they didn't search his bag for the gun after there was some indication that he was threatening violence, that he was not feeling well. He had drawn, as you said, a couple of problematic images. And so the parents not only provided him with the weapon, I believe as an early Christmas present, but they didn't guard his access to that weapon, even on school property, check to see if he had it. So there were a lot of instances where the parents, at least from what we see right now, of course, they are innocent until proven guilty, but there were several instances here where the parents could have stepped in and perhaps stopped this horrendous tragedy.
Yeah, and I also wonder about the school, what they could have done more when they asked the parents to take their child home that day, but they declined and the school just allowed them to let their son stay at school. But that's another subject. But I want to also ask you about the Michigan law as it pertains to minors having access to guns and ammunition. Explain a little bit about that.
Sure. And Rob, I think you make a good point about schools and their role here. If we're talking about potentially prosecuting the parents when there were multiple instances where they could have involved themselves, I think there's also a conversation happening right now about potentially prosecuting schools. Sometimes school systems and individuals get sued civilly by parents of victims or other individuals related or that fell victim to shootings. But the school system and the school administrators and individuals there are also a part of this conversation. Now, the Michigan law, and I'm not an expert on Michigan law, but my understanding is that Michigan actually does not have a law about preventing access to weapons in a home to minors. And there are dozens of laws across the United States. All 50 states have different laws here. They're allowed to have different precautions and different laws and how they control access to guns and how guns are supposed to be held. And dozens of states have laws where if you have a gun in the home, it has to be locked up and it has to be kept separate from the ammunition and not able to be fired when you have a minor in the home, whether that's your own child or another child, another minor that's visiting your home. And my understanding is not only did Michigan not have a lax law like that, they just didn't have a law on the books. So I think that's another conversation, again, for legislators to be having in that state about how they can try and prevent something like this from happening again there.
Yeah, Katie Barlow, so many questions to be answered and unravel how this whole thing developed into the tragedy that we stand here today. But yeah, we're going to find out. Katie Barlow, thank you so much for checking in with us on your day off too. Appreciate that.